Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I am still Johnny Hemberger, your mental curator, your freak of geek, your divine intervention, ushering you into the church of geek. To continue on just for a second of my last segment where I went on this rant about our culture being scientifically illiterate and what a shame that is, that we stomp the curiosity out of our kids so that by the time they're 18 years old and they graduate high school, or the time they're in their 20s or whatever and graduate college, by the time they're done with all that, they are not curious anymore. How sad that is. And I didn't want to continue on so much. I had my piece on that in the first segment. But there's a little, it's not a quote. It's a little saying that I have in my mind that I've finally heard put eloquently this week. And it's something that I try to apply to my life, and maybe by me relaying it to you, to my listeners and viewers on the YouTube. Why do I keep calling it the YouTube? Am I 90 years old? Viewers on YouTube. A little parcel. Let me just say it. I have all this built up. Let me just say it. How do we, as people, as an individual, turn data into information into knowledge, and then knowledge into wisdom? That is the sequence of events that should go through our heads if we're curious as we look at our world and our universe. How do we turn this data that we see or experience into information, and turn that information into knowledge, and then that knowledge into wisdom? I have had several people in my life ask me, Johnny, how the heck do you know that? Why is that bit of information in your brain? How do you know how to do this? Or how do you know about this subject? These are such random things. To a lot of people, it seems just random. Why are these random things occupying my brain space? I am not a genius at all. I am quite stupid, actually. I have lots of friends who will tell you how stupid I am. But I am curious. I'm very curious about this life. And it can come from any source it just can come from any source. That's the whole reason why I started this radio show. It's because I'm curious about so much, and I wanted to learn about it with you. So, why do I know how to make good coffee? Why do I know how to change a spark plug or change oil or a PCV valve or have that kind of basic knowledge about vehicles? Why do I have this basic knowledge about how to make coffee? Why do I have this basic knowledge about electronics and how to fix electronics? Why do I have a basic knowledge of the physics behind flight, lift and drag and all that stuff? Why? I could go on about all the different things that I have that to me, I think I have a very basic knowledge about, but to a lot of people, they may not know about any of it. They may know a lot about one subject. So why do I know a bit about lots of subjects? And that's just because I'm curious. I keep joking on this show about, it's not a joke, but I'm trying to help my listeners find their geek thing. Essentially what it is what hobbies are they good at? So the joke is, I say, I don't care if you're into comics or you're into computers or sewing. I joke about geeking out about sewing, that you can geek out about sewing or knitting. And that's just because in my geek brain, there's a little part of me that is curious about stitching, that's curious about sewing and about weaving and about knitting. Now, I don't think I'm going to do an episode where I'm sitting here in this chair with my knitting sticks. Is that what you call them? Am I blanking out on what you call the sticks that you knit with? You're going to sit here seeing me with the chain around my glasses and just knitting a little sweater, knitting another little Street Fighter sweater for a cat. You're probably not going to see me doing that, but I would like to talk to a professional seamstress or a knitter or anybody who works with fabric that way, because it's fascinating. Not only is it slightly fascinating to me how stitching actually works, but it's more fascinating to me just listening to somebody who's passionate about their hobby. I spend so much time on YouTube all over the place just listening to people who are passionate about things that I never thought I would care about. There is this channel on YouTube, I think it's called Primitive Technology. If you typed in Primitive Technology into YouTube, you'd find this guy's channel. And what this guy does is he's out in the woods and he basically builds houses and tools and pottery and utensils and stuff just out of what's in the woods. It looks like woods behind his house. He's just out in the forest building everything he needs out of mud and sticks and water. And it's fascinating to me. And I'm like, okay, when am I ever going to be out in the woods? What interest do I have in living that sort of lifestyle? And this guy doesn't live that lifestyle. He doesn't live in these little adobes that he makes in the woods. He actually, exists in the modern world. Obviously, he has a camera to bring out there into the woods and film himself. And obviously, he has the skills to use a computer to put it all together and edit video and upload it to YouTube. So he's living in the modern world, but he has this set of skills that seem so useless to the layperson, to the passerby. But it's so amazing how good he is at his hobby. And the thing is, his videos get millions of views, and he's got millions of subscribers, and each video, just like I said, gets millions upon millions of views. There is no dialogue in his videos. He is not talking you through what he's doing. It's just cutting from here to there, showing what he's doing. But he's not talking, and he's not doing it as a tutorial. He's just letting you see what he's doing with his hands and feet and everything like that. Now, a lot of people don't know this, is you can turn on the closed captioning for that channel, and he has a description going along as the closed captions describing what he's doing. But his videos get millions of views. There's no music. There's no dialogue. It's just the microphone that's on the camera picking up the sounds of the forest. I just went on for 2 or 3 minutes about that guy building mud huts. It's fascinating. Does anybody else do that? Do I have any other listeners or viewers out there who just wind up going down the rabbit trail of YouTube? And I don't mean down the rabbit trail where you're watching God knows what horrible thing at 3 a.m. because you can't sleep. But I mean, you go down these rabbit trails like, oh man, I wonder what happens if you light a match under a balloon filled with helium. We know what happens. It's going to explode. Wait, did I say helium? I meant hydrogen. Hydrogen. Helium will do nothing. Helium is an inert gas. It will not react to combustion. It will not combust. Hydrogen, however, is very combustible. So is oxygen. So are a lot of other gases. Anyways, but you go down these rabbit trails of just feeding this knowledge itch. That to me is being a true geek. That is what geek therapy is all about. And we need that. I'm not going to talk about this too much right now, but an event transpired this week. An event transpired in Las Vegas last Sunday night. And honestly, I've been wrestling all this week with the feeling of, I really don't feel inspired to do a show this week, because what can I possibly do or say that in any way is significant to that kind of loss and tragedy and hurt? It seems so trivial. What am I going to get on here and talk about? I've got a story. I mean, I've got stories I'm looking at on the computer here to talk about cars, to talk about the new Intel processors that are coming out, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. But I'm just thinking that's so insignificant to human suffering, and so I have just been struggling with what am I going to do on the show this week because of that. But then it just dawned on me last night that I need to do this show. That my show, Geek Therapy, this is the therapy. This is the therapy for tragedy in our world. Our hobbies are not distractions from that tragedy. Our hobbies and what we geek out about is the beauty of our existence. That is the human condition. That is what we're here to do. To share our passions with each other, share our hearts with each other. So the name of my show, the second name in the show, Geek Therapy Radio. I was reminded, your job, what you need to go on the air and do this week after the tragedy, is offer that therapy. This is Geek Therapy Radio. And as geeks, I think we have this gift in us to be wondrous about our world, to not let tragedies like what happened last Sunday beat us into submission. I bet you there's a lot of people this week who may be reconnected with their hobby, whether it's yoga or flying airplanes or building Legos or watching Star Wars movies. I bet you there's a lot of us geeks and people who don't know they're geeks, who are geeks, who re-indulged in their hobby. And it's not an escape. It is not a distraction. It's therapy. It's what we need to do so we don't let monsters destroy our lives. There's no reason why monsters like that guy last Sunday should have a devastating effect on our life. You cannot let that kind of evil win. So, this week, my show, more than ever, it's the 30th show, by the way. This is number 30. This show is more therapeutic than ever for me, and hopefully for all of you. This is our geek therapy. We hurt. We're a nation that hurts. We're a world that hurts right now. But mostly, well, not mostly, specifically, it's our nation that hurts right now. And we need this therapy. We need this geek therapy. So that is the resolve I formed in my heart this week when I was down and out, thinking how my trivial little show about geek things, I have no motivation to do it because I don't think it matters. It does matter. Therapy, 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 geek therapy, 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 radio. That is what I am here to do. That is my calling. That is what I am supposed to do. And if I can encourage anybody listening who's so downtrodden and disenfranchised and jaded by the evil in this world, if I can encourage just one of you listening right now to reconnect with a hobby that you had as a kid, back when you had that furious curiosity as a child to build Legos, go build Legos. After work at whatever your job is, maybe you love your job, maybe you hate your job, maybe it's right in the middle, you just do it. After work on Monday, just this week, after work, go to the toy store and buy Legos. Go to a hobby shop. And if you were ever curious about building model airplanes or racing RC cars, just go do it. Who cares what people think you might look like if you're a grown man or woman standing out there playing with a remote control car? We need that now. We need to do that now. So go do it. Spend 5 minutes this week playing video games. Do something that you've done as a kid that somehow the world has beaten out of you. Do not let the world beat it out of you. Go do it. Go fill your heart with that joy again. Go spark that curiosity as an adult. Let that child inside of you flourish, that curiosity bloom. Go do it this week, now more than ever. We'll be back with more Geek Therapy Radio. We got pretty therapeutic there, which is good. We needed that. I needed that. Be right back with more. I'm going to touch on some tech subjects, or not. Who knows what I'm going to do? Maybe more therapy. I do want to talk about the new Intel processors because that's something fascinating to me, what AMD has done in the chip scene. Anyways, more Geek Therapy Radio coming up. I'm Johnny Hamburger. Geek Therapy Radio, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, geektherapyradio.com. Go like and subscribe to all that, please. That'll be therapeutic to me to see more likes on my Facebook. Therapeutic to me to see more subscribers on my YouTube and views. So go do that. We'll be right back. More GTR.